let's look at Composer in a bit more detail, and let's see how we can leverage the power of Composer and the open source community to add deep and rich functionality to our applications without having to write the code ourselves. Okay, so let's do that. Let's head out onto the web. Let's go and look for a package. And I've got something in mind already. GeoIP Laravel 5. Okay, the Toran package. Now, in fairness, it's something that I've used before, so I know how this works, but I'll step you through the process of how I integrate packages as a matter of course. I mean, I would go through the same process if I hadn't been exposed to this. So what this thing does is it tells us where the location, what the location of the visitor is based on their IP address. Okay, it's not infallible because IP addresses aren't always empirically accurate, but it works. It's fairly useful. We've used this application ourselves. Okay, so when I'm integrating something like this, I tend to scan it first, just to get a sense of how involved is it to make this thing work. Now, in this case, it's fairly simple. There's just some basic installation instructions, publishing of the configuration, database, which is specific to this particular package, some usage information, and then some example data. Okay, so let's make this work. Alright, so the publisher of this application is saying, just include this in our Composer JSON file, as opposed to giving us a Composer command line installation instruction. Okay, so let's head into our code. Let's go to our Composer JSON file, and let's drop that package in. Now when we do an update, Composer will see it does not have this, and it'll pull it in along with any other dependencies that this package needs that we do not have, which is great. So that's one of the things that makes Composer so powerful. We're after this package, but this package may have a dependency on 5 others, and we're not concerned with that. Composer takes care of all of that for us in the background. So let's do that. Let's say Composer update, and let's get it to pull this package in for us. Okay, there we go. So it's pulled the package in. Now the instructions are telling us, let's register the service provider. So let's do that. Let's grab that. And let's head into our service provider array, which is in our config directory in our app. And let's drop it in there. Okay, cool. Let's go grab the facade. There we go. Go down here. Drop the facade in. Okay, so we've done that. Next, it's saying publish the config. Okay, that's another standard thing. Let's grab that. Head into our terminal. Publish the config. Okay, great. If we go into our config directory, there it is. There's its configuration settings. Okay, and now we have to do the database bit. Okay, so it says we need to head over to that IP address, and we need to grab that database and save it to that directory as that file name. Okay. So it's Geolite City. Geolite. Whoa. Why is it in Russian? That's better. Okay, let's grab that. Geolite City 2. Okay, that one there. Let's copy that link location. And let's just pull it in via curl. Let's go into the storage app directory, because that's where it wants it, and let's just pull this thing in via curl. Alrighty, so it's curl space minus capital O, so that it actually writes it to a file as opposed to displaying the contents on the screen. Okay, there we go. So we've got our database file down. Now let's extract it. Let's go to that directory. There we go. Let's unzip that tarball. Extract files, okay. Alrighty, let's go grab the database. Let's rename it at the same time. GeoIP. Okay, let's just say cut, app, paste. Now we can get rid of that and we can get rid of the tarball. Okay, right, so we've got our database. Now it says, once we've done that, it says, okay, so it's as simple as doing that, right? Okay, let's do that. Let's grab that. Let's go into the app. Let's go to our roots and let's make a new controller for this. Let's do this. Let's comment that section out. And let's say root get, and now you can start to see the code completion coming into play. And let's say when it hits our root, we're just wanting to send it to a controller called GeoIP controller. There's no real thought going into this. I'm just sort of doing this on the fly at a function called start. Okay, let's do that. Now we need that controller, which we don't have, so let's make it. Let's go PHP artisan make. We want a controller and we want to call it that, and we just literally want a plain controller. Okay, good. So we've got that. Let's go into our controllers. There's our GeoIP controller. Okay, and now let's say public function start is what we called it. Don't need to pass it any parameters, and literally we just need to drop that in there. Okay, let's drop it in and let's try and dump that variable. Okay, and we need to obviously include the class. Okay, so in our root, it's our application root. It goes to that controller, fires that function loads this function, and off we go. Okay, dined up. So in theory, if we go here now, oh, hang on. My bad, sorry. It's a facade. Let's go back there. That's better. But it's not working correctly because I'm not in the States. I think I know why. Let's just go back into the docs. Oh, I closed them. Let's just go find it again. Sorry. Finger problems. When no IP is given, server remote. Okay, yeah, because that's not going to work. Our server is sitting behind. It's on a 192. It's on an internal network. So what I can do is I can go to my router, 192.168.100.1. And I can grab my external IP address, which is that one there, that I can do, and say give me that location. Okay. Groovy. That's better. It's found me properly. Okay. So that's an example in relatively short space of time with no coding effort whatsoever. We've integrated an application that we found on the web that's being offered by the open source community, and we've included it into our application. Now there's all sorts of things out there. If you want a package that reads Excel files, it's done. A package that reads CSV files, it's done. There's tons and tons of stuff. If you head over to Packerlist, packerlist.com, I think. Yeah. You can search here, if you go Laravel 5, you can go and search for all sorts of things. And obviously they have varying degrees of complexity in terms of integration into the Laravel framework. This GeoIP one is fairly simple, but there's all sorts of things that you can grab here. And obviously that's not the only site, there's GitHub and there's loads of others. So I think that's a wrap on this section. So now we've taken a look at how we can add deep functionality quickly into our back end. The next thing that we need to do is now do the same thing on the front end. So we've used Composer for the back end. Next we'll talk about Bower and Elixir and everything associated with those environments dealing with front end matters. So I'll see you in the next section where we talk about Bower and Elixir.